Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays, and we're in the J8M. I needed credits, and I was trying to finish off a mission for a crate, which I needed to fly a fighter for this Red Comet mission this past weekend. And this is the battle we had. I'm actually commenting on this probably about a day or so later, so hopefully I remember some of what's going on here, but I remember it's a pretty good battle. The J8M, much like the 302 review we did before, it's a rocket plane. I think I described the 302 as the poor man's version of a J8M since it's only tier 7. Although the 302 is only available every so often, and sometimes the deal, air quotes, is a little bit more pricey just due to the special camo that you have to buy with it. So this is going to play very similar. The idea is like you're going to come in fast, you're going to do a couple of hit and runs, and then you're going to pull off the target. But not every attack run has to be a hit and run. When I know that there's a lot of aircraft that can possibly turn on me, I'll maintain speed. But when I see an aircraft that's otherwise engaged, I'll sometimes slow the aircraft down so I can maintain guns on target like we did there in order to finish off the enemy. This really likes to tail chase aircraft because then you can keep them in your sights that much longer. I wanted to head immediately towards the airfield on this map because if you can get the airfield, that means that your guys can start respawning closer to the action. So getting that respawn point is very valuable. Now, if we were playing on the map where you could get the military facility, that's what I would have opted for. You'll see here I'm actually switching targets quite rapidly, and then I'm pointing the nose up and going to a completely different altitude bracket. We're still over the airfield, but I decided that I was going to go after this heavy, so I came up from underneath, and anything that was engaging me down below immediately lost interest because I was gone, and I could go after that heavy. You'll see that we have the consumable that increases maneuverability. I've gone for full maneuverability build on this, which seems really counterintuitive, but it makes it easier to get these guns on target for this type of an engagement, otherwise we would have really struggled. But when we got behind that heavy, it gives us just enough maneuverability that we can actually stick on a heavy, much like an altitude fighter should. And I only, excuse me, I only get to use that every so often. We probably would have a better time here if my allies weren't here because they keep dying in the zone. But we see a low health target here. Get the guns on target, knock them out. I do have a couple of aircraft are trailing on me, so I hit my emergency boost, much like we did with the 302, in order to get us out of there, because this thing can get up to over 600 miles an hour in the straight and level with a full boost burn. There it is, 614 in this case, and we were able to get out of there very quickly, and we took out that F4U4 that was otherwise engaged with another aircraft. Finding a distracted enemy is perfect. And then here's another tail chase on an XP-72. It took a really long time to get a handle on this aircraft, a very long time. So if you happen to have purchased it and you're still trying to get used to it, just keep plugging away. I think you'll find that you'll end up having some decent success. It just takes time. And I did put everything I could into accuracy as well. We've gone with the long barrels because the guns are actually very short range, less than 2,000 feet. So by going for a little bit more range, we're not sacrificing any of the accuracy. I tried going with a gas-operated action, and what I found with the gas-operated action is that it decreased the accuracy. The increase in fire may be nice, but it just wasn't doing what I wanted it to for being able to hit the targets. I need to get those good heavy hits, especially against altitude fighters, because those are the ones that can cause me a lot of trouble. Speaking of, here's an altitude fighter. Getting those hits to connect. If I had gas operated action, I'm not sure I would have hit. There's so many times that I see the shells just go on either side of the aircraft. It's very temperamental aircraft, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like right there, I thought I would have been able to kill that aircraft, but I can't. The trick is don't ever get overcommitted. Just leave. If your shots didn't hit, don't try really hard to get those guns on target. I think you'll find that it's going to cause you more trouble than it's worth. Like even right there, I went after that one aircraft with the intent to kill because it's a player controlled aircraft, but I didn't get him, so I just left and I'm moving on to another zone. I see a heavy at altitude. He doesn't know I'm coming up from behind and underneath is going to give me a lot more surprise He's actually vectored onto another heavy. We used our boost cooler to be able to give us a little bit more speed to close. We're slowing down, like I said before, in order to keep those guns on target, and we knocked him out. We still have our consumable available as well. Knowing that that AA site was heavily contested, we decided to move on and go towards this garrison because there's no sense in overcommitting your assets to a heavily contested zone when you can pick off other areas to increase your timer. And as you can see here, we just got grade 2 fighter. That's actually, I think, what one of our mission requirements was at this point. There we go. Finish flipping the zone. We still have 2 heavies flying through here, one of which is an XP-58. XP-58 I actually do need to worry about. His tail gunner can be enough to knock out our very thin-skinned aircraft. We are very light and weak, so we have to bear that in mind. This aircraft, while it was originally designed to go after bombers, isn't that good at it because the heavy fire that comes from a lot of these tail gunners, especially at tier 8, 9, and even 10, they're just going to be way too vicious. Not that this will see a 10, but point still stands. Tail gunner fire is nasty, and this aircraft just can't handle it. That's why it's good if you can come in for a booming pass. It doesn't mean you can't use it against bombers, you just have to really plan your attack runs. Like come in from underneath. I don't think there's a bomber in the game that can shoot directly below itself or directly up. So as long as you can get on one of those angles, you should be able to get the fire in. Or find a bomber that already has an aircraft directly behind it, a friendly aircraft, so that way the tail gunner is focusing on them and then you can just augment their fire. We were lucky to get that aircraft destroyed, but it was mostly due to the XP-58 behind me giving me a hand. We are catching some tail gun fire. We lost our wing, we lost our engine. Get that engine back up immediately. Go for the up and over climb. I think we just hit the edge of the map and it kind of guided us back in. But we're going to continue to burn, get away from these 2 aircraft, and look for another target, because those 2 are definitely looking at me because I'm the closest threat. So let's go find something else to engage. See the XP-58 up here. He is focused on the bomber. We got 1 passing blow, I believe. And now we're going to look for another target at a completely different altitude block. Or not. It's pretty much over at this point. We got 5 minutes and 13 seconds. We only need to kill 1 more aircraft out of the zone, which happened, and we just got grade 1 fighter and hero of the skies. So solid victory for us and 14,000 personal points. What's even more important is that this aircraft has a huge payoff as a result of being a premium. So let's get to the hangar and see the endgame results. Alright, so it really does take a long time to get used to the J8M, but once you start to find that sweet spot, I think it starts to work really well. And of course, specializing in it doesn't hurt either. So we got grade 1, we got Akamatsu medal, we've got Wing Legend, and we've also gotten the Flying Warrior badge, and the one we were really after, which is the Red Comet badge stage 4, we achieved, which is what gave us another crate. And of course, if this gets up to 100%, which it usually does, we'll double the amount of crates that we've won. So we should be standing to get 4 crates. So that's a good news for us. We were top of the team. Obviously, there was only 1 player on the other team, and he was in a Yak-15, but our aircraft has the ability to traverse the entire battlefield, which allows us to make a huge impact. Like I said, we messed with the setup for our equipment here. I had gone with gas-operated action, thinking that higher volume of fire would be better, but I think the long gun barrels maintain the accuracy. In fact, we did roll for increased accuracy of forward-firing armament, and we also increased the chance of critical damage and the overall damage inflicted by the forward-firing armament. So that is definitely going to be helpful because you need these shells to make contact. And you saw there were several times that it looked like we were kind of lined up, but the shells just kind of went to either side of the aircraft, and it was even worse with the gas-operated action. But slowing the aircraft down, getting it to about that 300 mile an hour mark, allows you to be able to get that much more control, more time on target. Really, you should be using your speed to get on target, or get to the target zone, get to the thing you want to shoot. Slow down, settle in behind it, unload with these guns, keep them bursted so that way you're not overheating, because as soon as you start to overheat, you decrease accuracy. Get those hits, get that kill, and if they turn on you, hammer that boost, just go straight on through like we do with a heavy, and then you can come back. It seems really counterintuitive to not play entirely to the strengths and put a bunch of things on here to augment the weaknesses, such as the lightweight wing frame and the lightweight power unit here, but with the cooldown rate that we have with this high-speed gas turbine, it's actually going to allow us to, one, be able to get up to speed really quickly. Two, we're almost always going to have boost available. And since we are running with 2 engine consumables, we do have that cooler on here, which allows you to be able to get yourself out of tough situations. We really didn't need to augment the strength because the aircraft already gets up over 600 miles an hour very easily, and at this tier, this thing is a rocket ship. It's already gone. Nobody can really stop it. And when it's played correctly, I hate this thing when I'm up against it. Just because by the time you realize it's there, it's already passed by the time you've turned around. So then you start watching for it. And if he ignores you and goes to another target, you're paying more attention to this J8M than you are the rest of the aircraft on the battlefield. So just as a fear factor, if you land a couple of solid hits and leave, the power it has on your psyche is just absolutely immense. So yes, if you have a J8M or you've won one or purchased one and are kind of regretting it, try and get used to it. I think it'll turn out to be a lot of fun. I enjoy flying it just for the giggles of it. Like I've been flying it all night. I was at 5 million credits when I started this evening. I'm already up to 6.4 million. So it also makes a ton of credits. And of course, this was a really good result for us. But we've had good results all night, as you can see here. 250,000, 307,000, 242. It's just been a good night all around when it comes to the J8M. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the fight and some of the tactics of this weird rocket plane. If anybody else has other setups that have worked well, or other cruise skills, or any other tips on how to fly this plane, please put them in the comments down below. I'm always interested in trying to refine the aircraft. And thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.